Alright, so I'm back out testing the Kenevo. I recently converted it to a mullet, but today I'm riding it as a full 29er. So I bought a full 29 wheel set when I converted it to a mullet. So I got the 29 up front, and then I've shoved the 29 in the rear and managed to fit in a 2.5 wide Assegai in the 29er, which I was surprised that it fit. Thought I'd probably buzz the frame with it or something, but so far it's been running pretty good. I haven't touched the frame once. There's not much mud clearance, but it does fit. So I'm out here just testing it today. Got two questions. Does it feel better or worse? And is it faster or slower? So let's test it out. Alright, testing the full 29er on the Kenevo. First thoughts, through that chunky stuff there, it rolled real nice. Definitely felt like it rolled over the rocks and roots easily. Those berms though, feels a little slower to turn in and out. Same with those ones. Yeah, same there. A lot of those berms, it felt quite slow to roll in and out. It required a lot of effort to roll in and out. It feels bigger too, for sure. Alright, so I've done a few laps on the full 29 Kenevo now. My thoughts are, it definitely feels bigger. Just riding it. Buzzed my bum on the rear tire a couple of times, but nothing too bad. Get used to it pretty quick. It feels like it rolls over the chunky stuff. It's a bit smoother. There's just a bit more grip in the rear as well. And over the roots and rocks, it just tracks nicely going straight. In and out of corners though, it definitely feels a lot slower, and I've got to put a lot more effort in to lean the thing over. So on this axis, it's just feeling really slow, like I'm coming in with the same speed I would with the mullet, and I'm almost not getting it turned over because it just requires more effort and comes over slower. So yeah, I definitely like how it tracks over the rough terrain. Maybe feels a little bit faster there, but I don't know if I can get comfortable with how slow it is in and out of corners. It just doesn't feel as enjoyable to ride or as quick through corners. So I'm now going to just try and put a couple of fast laps down and see what I can do on a lap time. Is it faster or not? And then I'll do the same thing with the 27.5.
Okay, so I ended up doing about 5 or so runs on both the mullet and the 29er, and the fastest runs I managed are what you're about to see on the video on the screen. So on the left we have the mullet, and on the right the 29er. So as we roll the video, you can see that even after the first berm, the mullet starts pulling slightly away from the 29er, and this is repeated at pretty much all the berms on the way down, and reflects how the bike was feeling to me. It was much easier and faster to lane the corners, so I was much more comfortable on it, and obviously from watching the video, able to corner more confidently and with slightly more speed. So by the end of the trail, the mullets ended up about a second in front of the 29er, which I put down to what I said previously about being more confident in corners and being able to carry slightly more corner speed as a result, and then this just compounds throughout the trail. So the first trail was quite a flowy trail, which may have suited the mullet more. So for this next comparison, I'm riding a more technical trail with more rocks and roots that would probably suit the 29er more. So as we come down the trail and over the first jump, both bikes are neck and neck. However, after that first berm there, you can see the mullet just starts to edge out slightly again over the 29er. So obviously I was able to carry just a little more corner speed on that first berm. Now there are some quite rocky sections on this trail that are coming up, so I'm expecting the 29er to make up a little more ground there. So we're riding over some fairly rough rocky sections of trail at the moment, and I don't think there's really any noticeable advantage that the 29er has over the mullet in this section. And pausing the video up at the end, the mullet's been faster over that section by about a second again. So what have we learned? I really thought the 29er was going to be faster, however the mullet was marginally faster for me on both trails, and most surprisingly it was faster on the technical trails as well. Now, of course, the margin was not massive. However, I do know these trails really well, so there's no advantage for learning the trail. Also, all runs I put down were on the limit and the best run out of a handful of runs, so that's about the best I can do to keep this comparison fair. The geometry also changed slightly between the 29er and the mullet, lifting and dropping the rear with the different wheel sizes, so I could have been more comfortable on the mullet geometry than the 29er geometry. Keep in mind though that the Kenevo is a 27.5 from factory, so both the mullet and the 29er are modifications from the factory geometry. I've also ridden the bike for 90% of its life with a 27.5 tyre in the rear, so probably would have found a little more time with the 29er as I got used to it more. However, I think the best I could have probably done would be to match the mullet's time. So given this and the fact that the mullet is much more enjoyable to ride, feeling more effortless and nimble, I'll be keeping the bike as a mullet in future. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time.